This video focuses on parallel and orthogonal vectors. Two vectors are parallel when the angle theta between the vectors is either 0 degrees or 180 degrees. So two vectors are parallel when the angle between them is either 0 degrees or 180 degrees. If they're 180 degrees, the vectors point in the opposite direction. So here's an example graphically. So we have an angle theta, which is 0 degrees. Remember, that is when the cosine of the angle equals 1. They're going to point the same direction. So if we have vector v and then vector w, they're going to be the same direction. The second example is when we have an angle that is 180 degrees for theta. That cosine of the angle is going to equal -1, and then the vectors will point the opposite direction. So here's vector v pointing to the left, and then vector w is pointing to the right. The other topic is when two vectors are orthogonal. What does that mean? Orthogonal means when two vectors are 90 degrees or perpendicular to each other. So let's go ahead and highlight. Orthogonal is when the angle between the vectors is 90 degrees. So you want to think of orthogonal as perpendicular. So what you would get is the dot product formula, and when you're done, your dot product will equal 0. So here's your dot product, there's your formula, and when you're done, you're going to get a value of 0. So those would be considered parallel or orthogonal. So our yellow box says two vectors are orthogonal or perpendicular if their dot product equals 0. All right, let's go on to an example on the next slide. Are these vectors orthogonal? So graphically, I have them graphed out on our coordinate plane here. It looks like the two angles are 90 degrees in measure between them, but let's verify it. So we need to identify this as vector v, and this is vector w. So how you prove that is you're going to do the dot product. So we're going to be multiplying vector v and vector w. So we're going to take a sub 1 times a sub 2 plus b sub 1 times b sub 2. So here's a sub 1, which is 6. Here's b sub 1, or sorry, a sub 1 again, that's 1. Here's b sub 1, -3. Here's b sub 2, which is an +2. That should be a 2 there. All right. Multiply 6 times 1, which is 6, plus -3 times 2, which is -6. Combine those terms together, and you get 0. So the dot product is 0. So on that previous slide, we learned that if those dot products are 0, then they're considered orthogonal or perpendicular. So the angle between these two vectors is at 90 degrees.